G'day, you're back with the Dr. Friday Show, and we're in my favorite place. We're in the kitchen, and we are going to be making an absolutely beautiful cherry chip cake. It is my absolute favorite. Every holiday, you better have one of these on the table, or Friday is not happy. Being that, we're going to give you some basic instructions here. First, you need 2½ cups of flour. You're going to need 3 tablespoons of baking soda. You're going to need a ½ teaspoon of salt, shortening a ½ cup of, and then you need lots and lots. This is 16 ounces of the cherry maraschinos. You're going to need 4 egg whites, 5 ounces of cherry juice, just right from the jar, you know, when you have it, and then 2 cups of sugar and a ½ cup of milk. That will take care of everything you need to put in the bowl. All right, so while we're always talking, what is the most thing you want to have? You want to have your cake, and you want to eat it too, right? And that is what we're going to show you today through taxation. Taxes, money, eating, cake, all goes together. Makes me all happy. One of the things you want to know about when you are starting to make a cake, it's just like preparing for taxes. First thing, what do? We got all of the ingredients together. So sometimes you're not too sure. Am I supposed to use Bisquick, right flour, different flour? That's like a different type of tax thing. Is the taxes you're taking the right type of taxes for you? So while we're making the cake, let's think about different things that you might or might not actually be dealing with when it comes to doing your taxes. When you're doing your taxes, the one thing you want to make sure is that you have all the right things for you. Not everyone itemizes, for example. So everybody that buys a home doesn't qualify for itemization, meaning that buying a home doesn't mean you're going to save tax dollars. It might be a good investment for you, it might not. It doesn't make a difference what that is. We're talking about taxes. Also, when it comes to buying a home, you want to make sure that when you're doing your taxes, you don't forget your property tax. Number one, people forget mortgage interest. Believe it or not, mortgage interest. You pay your mortgage every month. Then your property taxes, your auto registration. If you're itemizing, don't forget that. Don't forget the miles for doing it on your vehicle for, if you're sick, you've got medical miles. If you're an employee that doesn't get reimbursed and you do a lot of traveling, you've got unreimbursed employee miles, right? These are all great and fabulous things that you need to make sure that you have going for you. That's putting the ingredients together, getting everything organized. That's what we want to do. Okay, so when you're doing that and knowing how much, one of the things that people will do is they're going to take something and they're going to say, oh, I can get a lot of this. I'm going to take a ton of miles. That way I can reduce my taxes. Well, what happens when you put too much baking powder in a cake? Boom, it explodes. That's what your tax return will do, because the IRS is going to come and knock you up. You've got to be smart, have records, documentation. That's what we want to make sure. We want you audit proof. We don't want you just out there throwing things into your cake, just like you would a tax return, just throwing it in there because, oh, Robbie Joe down the block says he has it, so I guess I get to deduct it, even if you have no documentation. Do you realize even on putting contributions on a tax return, anything over $250, you have to have documentation. You can't just walk in and say, oh, I gave $500 to this church, $275 to this church, $1,000. Documentation. If you want to be audit proof, you've got to make sure you know exactly what you have going on when it comes to your taxes. Otherwise, wow, you're just asking for someone to come and knock on your door. This is a very fast show. What you're going to do is you're going to chop these bad boys up and you're going to put them into the cake. But to make this expedient, we're going to pour those bad boys right on in there. And that way then, what you're going to do is you're going to put them into cake pans, pour them. And hopefully you've blended this just a little better than I have. All right. Being the neat cook that I am, you're going to take these right on over here. You're going to put them in the oven. And voila, they're done. So when you're done with that, all you want to do, look at that. Isn't that pretty? All those cherries in there. You're going to put those down. And if you're making a double layer cake, all you have to do is basically stack it up. Put one like that, put a little icing. Put the second one, you want to put this one top up. And that way nothing sticks. See, it's like a big sandwich. Love it. Okay, so once you do that, you're going to ice it. And then you're going to have all the time in the world to make it really great. And when you're making icing, all I can tell you is the secret is I don't make icing from scratch. I take this, I take a little of the cherry juice that normally is in the jar, a little extra, stir it into this, and you've got the perfect colored cherry icing for your cake. Just remember, when you're dealing with taxes and you're dealing with food. It's all the same. It's what you like to a point, but also knowing the rules. You put too much into a cake or not enough of something in a cake, what happens? It explodes or it turns out flat. It never rises, right? Same thing with your taxes. If you don't put all the right ingredients into it, it's going to be the exact same situation. So if you've got questions, all you have to do, you've got me. So pick up the phone, 615-367-0819, or just visit the web, www.drfriday.com.